We're back, and welcome back. So today we're going to be going over. We're going to be going over the tool I've developed for large language model interaction. Essentially, like, I'm giving you my custom rolled version of the normal like GPT front end, but this one's kind of aimed at specific applications, being extendable, being something I can continue to develop over time, and also serving as like a course facilitator for some of the stuff we're going to do. So I think this video is mostly just about using it, like how do you use the tool. There will be some assignments, some introductory assignments later, probably usually immediately following this, but for now we're just doing a walkthrough of the tool. So what is it? You can see the QR code over there is called cogmate.app. Fully deployed. It's all extant. It's out there on here, let me get rid of that. It's out there on Google Cloud doing its thing, and here we are. It's all secure, HTTPS, yay! I only mention all this because it takes a lot of time to do that kind of stuff, especially when you're less involved in the app development world, but here we are. So here's the basics. So you go to cogmate.app, right? This is my personal, branding, all my stuff, and you're going to enter your student ID. It'll be 9-digit. You know the deal. So 8, your ID here is the tutorial version of that. I might even delete that. Don't use it. Use your own. It's important. So I've just entered the ID. Now, boop, you can pick which, that's actually called on-ramp now. You can pick which thing you're going to interact with, how you're going to interact, right? These are things that are setting and changing the prompt of the system. We'll start with just the on-ramp one, which is the gentle introduction version. And let's try sending some messages. So here we have this model, right? Let's talk to it. Just say, hey, I'm trying to learn about AI and how I can use it day to day. This is similar to the way that the first assignment will be. Hey there, cool to meet you. So you're into AI, pretty rad. It's a little cringy, but it talks a little more naturally than the standard one. I'm your cogmate, so it's kind of introducing itself. It knows what course we're talking about, right? Since you're into, you might dig our course. It doesn't always know the full context. It's operating adjacent to TA. We can dive into all sorts of cool stuff, but almost here day-to-day stuff, right? So I can help you outline a paper, plan your day, what kind of stuff. So the vibe of this introductory one is just to help you get to know what this tool is even about. And we can, we have this system, and you can have your back and forth. Now let's keep going through the interface elements. The upper right is to help you navigate conversations. Right now there's only one of one. You can add a new one, or you can go back. That new one will persist unless you don't do anything with it. And you can have several. Doop-a-doo, ba-ba-ba. Hey there. No idea what that means, but I'm all about that keyboard smash energy. Okay, it's doing its whole spiel again. So yeah, 2 separate conversations, very similar. But that's just for the sake of giving you the freedom. You don't want to be stuck with one long scroll. And continuing on, something useful here is all the information. I mean, the information you use here will be sent to the server, and that will also then be sent to OpenAI, right? The way this all works is your information moves around. That said, no one's looking at it. It's all like running through a server log somewhere on the back end. So it is all like in the pipes, but you're essentially you have privacy from like me and other people here. You just have less, So don't like we talked about in the past, and should talk about here again, is don't treat this as like no one's paying attention to you at the park, but don't do anything there that you wouldn't do that you wouldn't do in public. So okay. Oh, this is important. The system uses local storage, so that your web browser's local storage system. So if I hit reload, it keeps track of the things that are happening. I think it does change back to the default here, but otherwise, yeah, this is like super useful for when you are trying to talk to it, or if you want to come back to it, right? You can close it down, leave it, come back to it. Now it does. It's specific to where you are using it, though. So if you open the app on your phone, the web app, it will have a phone version of your conversations. Like you will have your own a set of different conversations on the phone, and you'll have on the browser. And if you can see, I'm in the incognito window. That's because it's a separate instance from the main browser, so it has its own stuff. Just so I can demo, right? My actual one, well, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. You won't. So we'll keep going. So it has persistence. You can leave it, you can close it, you can come back to it. Just make sure you're using your own ID, and we're good. So let's keep going. There's a drop-down panel, which is full of some extras and useful tools. This one enables the audio. So the tokens coming in from the system have sound if you do. So let's keep this conversation going a little bit and say something like, I want to outline a paper, but I need to figure out the topic first. Something from this course could be fun. I think so. I can't quite hear it. Checking. Yeah. So it's cute. Mostly just for cuteness. It is nice to be able to get a sense of the cadence of how quickly the information's coming in, just from a stance of like sort of like learning to understand how these systems work. But otherwise, it's just kind of for fun. Temperature, I suggest leaving this around 0.7, but I have made it available if you want to explore. Temperature is sort of a creativity versus consistency rating. So if you turn the temperature down to 0, that means there will be no variability. If you give it an input, it will always give you the exact same output for that. If you go up to 1, now it's getting like very creative. It's going to pick a lot of interesting left turns in the way that it talks. We won't detail that right now, but free to explore as you like. The save button will save the current conversation. We can save it right here. It does the whole thing here, and I can pop that open. Let's see. I think it was this one. No, this is your ID here. And you can see in the text editor, it will save this for you. Now, in this course, this is what you'll be turning in for any of these, bot interaction assignments. So, just when you're done with the conversation, you'll sort of like it's like you're taking your receipt. You're peeling it off, and you're going to submit it on the Brightspace. So we'll close that. The save button saves it. The explode button will kill all conversations. The X button will kill only the current conversation. So let's delete this conversation. And now only the other one exists. Screw that. Let's just delete them all. It asks you twice. Boom. We're back to neutral. So yeah, let's see. What else we got? So there's some nice things in the tool itself, I think, that you should all be aware of. So it's using GPT, which was the most powerful of its kind until about yesterday when they announced the GPT Turbo. I want to point out that this is sort of a unique opportunity. If you haven't, if you have touched Chat GPT in the past, but only the free version, everyone's broke. Of course, you only use the free version. You haven't seen GPT-4 yet, and its capabilities are pretty up there. So treat this as an opportunity to interact with the most closest to state-of-the-art version of these tools. Yeah, so you have the different prompt options up here for whichever task you are assigned. More of these will pop up as I develop them for the other units. For now, it's just going to be on-ramping and exploring ideas. And then, yeah. Also, it's great at writing like Markdown and code. So how about write me an explanation of how to some code that runs in Nango / semantic pointer architecture. Please use Markdown and what else do we want out of it? Explain the example code as best you can. I'm just going to leave that error in there because it doesn't matter. It does not care. Step by step. Let's see what it does. Yeah, introduce yourself again, buddy. Sounds like a fun challenge. Oh, no. It misunderstood us. You gotta wait for it to finish. Right. It's got to reintroduce itself every time. It's very conscientious about that, which I appreciate. So it doesn't remember that it's already kind of had this conversation because every conversation is its own world, right? So, no. I meant, could you write some example Nango code and then help me understand it? I'm a beginner. Sorry about the clacking. And here it goes. It's pretty good at writing the code. It's showing us how to create some networks. Again, it has consumed almost all of the code out there. You know, you might think, oh, Nango and semantic pointer architecture, those are very like niche. Like, yeah, it's eating them. And here it goes explaining, right? It's showing what to do and how you can interface with this. Like, it would also be a pretty good, at teaching you how to install a dang thing, right? If you didn't know. So, okay, it's still going. Yeah, finally it's kind of rolled to a stop. You gonna write a haiku? Yeah. On occasion, it'll slow down and write a haiku after a long time without one. Neurons in dance, decoding time and space in Nango's vast expanse. Decoding time and space in, yeah, okay. So, fun stuff. But this is the idea, right? You can ask it a lot more than you might think, and it gives very succinct explanations of things. In fact, let's talk about GPT-4's features just to sort of show you why this is worth messing around in. Compared to 3.5, it's way more powerful at like deconstructing complex tasks. So like what we just did, right? I said, hey, I'm like a beginner in this thing. I've programmed before, but I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. It gives us a little walkthrough, right? And it breaks it down into these steps that do make sense. Now, it will make some errors, but it's still worthwhile. So how does it do this? Remember, just like touching on the structure of these things, it's huge. It's like 10 to 100 times bigger than GPT 3.5, depending on, how that's measured. And the larger these systems are, there's more, complexity available in the breadth and the depth of the network. So GPT 3.5, you might have had an experience with that shows like, oh, it's like sort of follows my intentions, and it's very verbose, but it sort of doesn't really get at the thing I'm trying to say. Less true now. Much more the case that GPT-4 can meet you where you're at. So, and it's better at understanding what you mean, right? And how does it do that? Again, we'll talk about these later, but embeddings, all your words are converted into these large vectors of numbers that exist in this semantic space relative to other vectors of numbers that represent other language. That's what it's encoding. That's what it's taking in. So you can tell it doesn't care that I made a stupid, like, boneheaded, where was it? Explain, write some example Ningo code. Wait, where did I make that typo? X maple, right? You do that kind of thing with a standard, code interpreter, it explodes because it has the wrong symbol, right? Even in a standard sort of like decision-making tree, right? If you have the wrong symbols, things don't work. It's not working on symbols. It's working on semantics. It's working on the overall concepts that are represented in this text and filtering them into the model. So, right. So it doesn't care about your typos. Overall, things I would say just to prep you for messing with it in general, right? This is not about any of the specific assignments. This is just sort of the general guide. I've said this before, but it's an infinitely patient tutor, right? You can ask it over and over, deeper and deeper. Re-explain this. What does Ningo simulator model do? Why is this capitalized? The dumbest questions you can come up with, you don't have to think of them as dumb anymore. You can think of them as something that you're trying to figure out. It's a domain expert. It will, of course, sometimes make mistakes. This is a feature of all these models. But, so point being, you should always know enough to try and debug what's going on. You should be able to check at least a bit. The benefit with programming, especially, is that you can test the thing, right? You can see if the program runs, and if it doesn't, now you have a conversation with it. You give it the errors. It helps you debug. You can work with it. Similar for if you're doing something else like writing a paper, but again, you're not going to be out of the loop. You're going to be right there. You're going to take the stuff that it does, and you're going to edit it. You're going to change it. You're going to use it as a structure and a springboard to jump off of, and then do some more. So, it's also a motivated collaborator. It will help you do whatever you're trying to do to the best of its ability, no matter what. Doesn't get tired, doesn't get cranky. Can't say the same for us. And also, I just write, like, it listens. Like, everything you say to it is infinitely meaningful. It's how it functions. So, while it sort of feels like, oh, are we willing to get that sort of emotional? Like, a little bit. It will listen to you. It will listen to what you're saying and do its best to sort of respond to that. A lot of things don't really encourage that in the academic system or in any system. So it's kind of nice to have, even if it's just an artificial little dude sitting there giving you tips, at least it's like paying attention to the things you're saying. It has value. Other cool bits of the app, it does actually technically function as a standalone web app. I meant to be making this bigger the whole time, but a standalone web app in that it can, you can like save it to your home screen on your phone if you use like the share button. At least on iOS, you can hit add to home screen. I know you can do it on Android too. I just don't know the exact pattern. And on desktop, you're like, if you're in Chrome, it'll pop up with a little install me button, which really it's just making like a little container for it that will sit on your taskbar, but it's nice. You can't see what I'm showing you. That's fine. Trust. So yeah, and it's nice. It turns into a little lightweight app that's just like sitting there that you can pop up and use whenever. So yeah, I mean, I could mess around with it a little bit more, but I think I'll just kind of leave that to you. Actually, you will explore this a bit. So you're welcome to use it as you like for the duration of the course. I will probably be revoking everybody's access to it at that point. If you do, lose your ID access, your local storage it'll still show the conversations you have, so you'll still be able to see them and download them if you still need them afterward. But at a certain point, I can't let everybody keep having access to the dang thing. That's a way to lose a lot of cash. So the only real mild caution is, if you're using it all day every day, and I notice that, and like you're running up my bills by hundreds of dollars, then we'll probably talk about, you should probably pay for your own account. I'm not footing the bill for you to have countless access to this, but that would be an extreme. I'm just setting that sort of as the far goalpost, and if you just want to sit down with it on occasion and have an in-depth session here and there, or pepper it with like little questions throughout the day, like just don't use it constantly and run up the bill and crash me out. But I keep saying don't. I really would like to encourage you to use it. Get to know it. Explore using it outside of just the tasks of the day, but also for other things. So I'll attach some things here. I might make it a little easier for you to use a base version of it without the specific tasks for the course. Yeah, okay, and that's kind of it. This is a tool that exists for that exists for you to use and explore. I mean, this is the stuff that's happening right now in the field. Like this is state of the art. Well, not my little app. My little app is okay, but the tools that we're using inside of it are state of the art. So you can't get much more relevant than this. So explore, take your chance. This is your shot. Explore this tool for free. Yeah. So I think that's it. I think we're good. Yeah, great. Take care. See you next time.